This is the Blairing Out with Eric Blair show, and today I'm pleased to have the reigning queen of Rocktronica, JES.
Hey.
How you doing, JES?
I'm good. How are you doing?
Good. What was your first big break?
My big break was in 2000. I had a song called Star Children, which got on a Paul Van Dyke CD, Politics of Dancing. And then a lot of DJs started calling me to write for them and record, and that's sort of when it sort of started. But it was still a long time from that time. I'd been recording, and in 2003-04 I had a song called As the Rush Comes, and that was Motorcycle.
Motorcycle,
Yeah.
that's right. And actually you performed that song on the British television show Top of the Pops.
Which is no longer, I believe it's no longer on.
But so what?
Yeah.
And you also were on there with Beyonce.
Yes.
And
Blazing Squad and Maroon 5.
That's right.
Yes, I was. It was exciting. I really pushed for that. We were in like the, you know, UK top 10. You have to be the top 10 to be able to be on that show. And I wanted to be on that show so much. And I still have they give you this little, you know, bag with the book and all your mementos from that. It's all up on my mementos shelf. And I had dancers. I got off the plane and went into rehearsals. It was really cool.
Tell me about the connection with Tiesto. Now, he is the superstar DJ in the world right now, but he kind of helped you get to your next spot where you were doing solo albums. So tell me about that evolution.
Yes, I was very, very lucky. I mean, he's the first DJ I worked with a lot of DJs, and I love them all, and everybody that I've worked with and had a song with, I've wanted to work with. But he was really the first DJ that said, Jess, do your thing. I mean, I used to play him stuff, and I knew it wasn't exactly his cup of tea, or maybe something he would put on his album, but he always, you know, was so supportive, you know, of the things I had done, and just said, be yourself, be who you are, make the kind of record you want. And that meant a lot for me, you know, coming from him. And he signed me and helped me put out my own solo record, and that was like, been trying to do that for so long, my whole life. I'd sort of been taking many different turns and different projects, and I believed in Motorcycle, I believed in Guardians of Earth, I believed in the band I had before, which was more rock music, my own music that I was doing with the band. And this was what I've been waiting for forever. I sort of put things on hold to get to this point, so he helped me so much. He continues to help me. I'm on my third record, and he continues to be supportive of that, and that's, in this day and age, it's hard to find those kind of people.
What were some of the highlights of that period for you?
Oh, so many. I played at the Heineken Hall with him in Holland for a release party, but then he took me to Malaysia. I played the Formula One races for 22,000 people.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, that was incredible. And then he took me on tour with him last year all over Europe. So many places we went. We played on the beaches of Byblos in Lebanon, to the desert of Jordan, in the ancient city of Petra, and we played in Egypt, in Sharm el-Sheikh. I mean, we've done some incredible, incredible shows.
Tell me about the song Heaven. What inspired the lyrics for that?
Well, it's funny because that's when I started Disconnect. I was in New York City alone during Christmas, and I had my sister's apartment, and her husband was a musician as well, and he had a lot of old amps and guitars. I plugged them all, and I messed their apartment up completely. But New York is my home, and it was a very beautiful, dark, snowy, rainy Christmas. And that was just one night I was walking by myself, melancholy, in the streets of New York, and alone in the streets, and the first snowfall. And I was just thinking of how beautiful it was just right now, how perfect this moment is with nobody around and stuff. And that's really what that song is about, the heaven on earth.
Are you a spiritual person?
Very much so.
How do you define that spirituality?
Well, I mean, I do believe that we are all one. I also wrote a song called In Om, and I definitely believe we've lived a couple of times. I mean, I try to tap into, you know, the spirituality of everybody, and you know, I feel that we're all connected some way, and that we all feel the same things. And that's what I try to hone in on. I know that sometimes when I'm writing something, if I if it gets me a little bit for some reason, that maybe it'll get somebody else, you know, and I try to find those moments and capture them.
What is the first initial feeling that you get when you hear the crowd yelling, when you walk out there?
Wow. I just grab onto it because I love them so much. You know, I really do. A great show, and any kind of show you're doing, makes, you know, it's the audience.
Could you ever see a JES Christmas album?
I actually, you know what? I made one in my apartment the first year I was in LA with a whole bunch of people, and even Terry Reid, who's supposed to be, I don't know if you've ever heard his name, English guy, who's supposed to be the singer. Yeah, Led Zeppelin. Yeah. I had all these people. I know some of them moved away. I had like 20 people at my house, and we recorded a Christmas album because we made it, you know, a CD and gave it out to all our friends. But I definitely am working on one for next year, a song or something. I would love to make a Christmas album.
We'll hear it at Starbucks.
Yes,
right. For like every Christmas.
That would be really good.
Now, you covered Wish You Were Here by Pink Floyd. Okay, now tell me how that came about.
Well, I was in a cab one day going to a session somewhere in the valley, and on the radio came this song. And I mean, I don't know Pink Floyd inside and out, but I just thought that's a beautiful song. And I went home, I Googled it, learned the chords, and recorded it that night. And I didn't listen to it again. I got the chords and so I didn't know it, because I think I would, if I knew it the way people know it, maybe I wouldn't have recorded it, because it's hard to do covers of things you're trying to live up to Pink Floyd.
Yeah.
You know? So I sort of just did my own take on it, you know, sort of naively, ignorantly in a way, and it came out really well.
So your first solo CD was called Disconnect. Tell me about that, how that came to be, and did you collaborate with anybody on that?
Yeah, I did actually collaborate. There's a couple of songs I wrote on my own, and a couple of the producers. I worked with Richard Robson from the UK, who's worked on a lot of things, who's also working on my new album, Steve Siddell, Sean Spuler from Madonna, and Massive Attack, and all these wonderful bands. And definitely, I mean, to get it going and to push it through, you need people who have made records before to show you the ropes. It's a combination. It's an electronic album. It's a little bit rock. It's a little bit mid-tempo. I put a lot of my best songs I've been writing for a while, and so it's a collection. It really had a lot of the first JES stuff, solo stuff on it. So, but and then I had Into the Dawn, which is a chill out record. Wish You Were Here was on, and I really liked making that because I wanted to show a different side of me. People know me from the dance world, but I play guitar, I play piano, I just love to sing, and beautiful songs as well, and without a 4 on the floor beat going, and that has a lot of room to hear your voice, because a lot of times in the dance music there's a lot of stuff going on. So I made that one, and now I'm working on the next one.
And how is this next one going to differ from the last two?
Well, I have a lot more freedom. I feel a lot freer. I don't feel the same stress I did for the other one, and the same pressure. I have the pressure to write great songs, but I feel a little more confident and a little bit like I know a little bit more. I don't want to freak out. I definitely work my songs to death for the first one, because you never think they're done. You never think they're good enough. And this one I'm being a little more free with, you know what, this feels good. It's done. Let's move on and let's write something else. Also just getting a lot of ideas down, writing every day, finding those, you know, special things. It's definitely a different process for me this time. And I'm not so stuck into having to make a trance album, or, you know, I'm going to make the album with the hopefully the hits on it, which is important to get those great songs that everybody loves, and then remix them into the genre I am famous for.
What's next for JES?
Going on the road again until, like, you know, next year. Now, because I have to tell you, if I don't perform, I just don't feel like myself. I lose who I am. So I'm keeping that going. I've done a lot of new recording for the next record coming out in the summer, next summer. And I'll have a single coming out from it beforehand, probably in the early year, or early next year. And I have a couple collaborations coming out as well, besides all the things I do with Tiesto, which hopefully I'll be doing some more. I'm working on some things now. I also wrote some songs with BT, who's another amazing for his album.
That's huge.
Yeah, I got to go to his studio and work with him, and it was pretty intense, and I look forward to doing it again. We wrote some great songs, so that's coming out next year. Also did a new song with Airscape coming out called My Love, with some great remixes soon. I did Lost in the Sound for Dance for Life, which is a charity for children with AIDS and young people with AIDS all over the world. It's very important.
Well, Jess, with that, it's been great having you on the Blaring Out with Eric Blair show.
Thank you.
Mwah.
Thank you so much.
All right, this is the Blaring Out with Eric Blair show with Jess signing off.
The Blaring Out Show.